Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Am I the A-hole? Story 1. WIBTA for not attending my husband's traditional Christmas morning at his grandma's. My husband, 31M, and I, 29F, received a text inviting us to spend Christmas with his side of the family. It has been tradition to spend Christmas morning at my gills, to open gifts. I don't want to go. For context, we live on family property/ranch adjacent to my in-laws, which has caused tension over the years, as you can imagine. Despite maintaining the property, rent, property taxes, utilities, and maintaining the farm, a year ago, a confrontation occurred from my mill. Due to their lack of boundaries and manipulative behavior, I organized a family meeting, an attempt to improve communication which, despite my intentions to fix things, it made my in-laws furious. We accused them of disrespecting us. The day after, my mill demanded to see my husband alone and attempted to turn my husband against me with hurtful remarks towards me or my family. After hearing of the conversation, I confronted her, which led to an empty, insincere apology. My relationship with her has not recovered. However, in the midst of this all unfolding, my mill turned to her mother and sisters, who were all close with me previously, began to tell them her version of the story, which included false accusations against me and overall hurtful, mean girl mentality. This led to them all cutting off communication with me, including blocking me on FB, which typically isn't a big deal but was his grandmother's way of publicly making a point. Being pregnant at the time, fighting about our living situation and trying to plan a way out without losing everything we have worked towards, I ended up having our youngest son prematurely and spending weeks in the NICU. This happening just 3 months after the initial family meeting. They went from regular conversations to nothing at all. Not even 24 after a traumatic birth, they began reaching out demanding that I include my mill in the stressful and scary experience of welcoming our newborn. I was disgusted. Since this has happened, I have allowed the in-laws, sister and grandma, meet our youngest son, which was noticeably awkward. The whole time, they purposefully excluded me in conversation, and when one directly spoke to me it was cold and topic was of my sons, nothing that involved me. Whereas they invited my husband to join in games, asked about work, shared horse business. Not to mention the young cousins were also involved. They once enjoyed holidays together, didn't even say hi to me when I walked in, greeted everyone else. The oldest had a birthday the following day. Our family was not invited to the birthday dinner. We have had no communication since, besides them wishing my husband happy birthday, nothing for mine, and holidays. Yesterday we got a text from Gil, inviting us for Christmas morning. I have no interest in going, but I am not sure if I'm just holding resentment for their past neglect and likely negative. Story 2. WIBTA for kicking my long-term friend roommate out. TLDR, WIBTA if I asked my roommate to stay at home for a few months to figure out if she wants to be here, and maybe decide to not come back, even though it'll destroy her. There are 3 of us, 24, 23, and it's just not working with her. She asked to live with us knowing we wanted it to just be us 2, so we set out clear boundaries. Our boundaries have been violated a lot, and I think it's fair to ask her to leave because of that. She also doesn't have a job, and asked if I could cover her paying rent late last month. I said no. I'm thinking of calling a house meeting to get really frank about her plans and what she's doing. As she goes home for many weeks at a time, I'm thinking of framing in a way of, if I were in your situation, having written off the year, I would have already taken myself out of this situation, said I'm going to stay at home for a few months, recoup, and see if it's realistic for me to come back or give my room up for someone else. I don't think our friendship would survive this. We've had conversations before about being more considerate and the things she's done, which just ends in her crying, apologizing, and continuing to do the same thing. We are barely friends anymore as it is. I think saying this could help all of us, but if it goes the other way it could be something she never forgets and really put her back emotionally. Could break the camel's back essentially. She's also said she prefers being here to home, as she does more. Her mental health is clearly not good and I don't want to be the that sent her packing back to where she feels worse. But we used to stay up with her for hours trying to help her quality of life. She hasn't done any of it and clearly doesn't plan to. I mean she's making plans for 2025 for job, education etc. Our tenancy will be up by then. To me, these are all inconsiderate and selfish choices she's made. Story 3. AITA for telling my girlfriend's friend she has to either sit on the porch or not come over as often because of her dog affecting my cats. My GF just got a new job that allows her to work from home. Prior to this, her friend Carrie who also works from home would come over to our place a few times a month. Carrie has a service dog and I have 2 sibling cats who do not do well with dogs at all. When it was just a few times a month of Carrie coming for short visits I'd just take the cats and go into our bedroom to watch TV and they could cuddle up with me. Even then after Carrie would leave, the cats would poke their heads out of the room and be very cautious coming out, avoiding where Carrie's dog sat/lay down. My GF knew about this concern. The issue that's come up is ever since my GF started WFH, Carrie comes over daily to do her own work which means her dog comes too. This has been going on for almost a month and my cats are suffering for it. They slink around if they do come out of any room, they're skittish when they eat, they avoid all the furniture and worst of all they were having accidents in the bedroom because they were too scared to leave. I moved the litter box into our room but my GF complains about it. I tried to talk to my GF first and she said she'd talk to Carrie but she didn't, citing she felt bad because she knows Carrie needs her dog and didn't want to come off as uncaring. I offered up compromises like turning the spare bedroom or basement into an office for them. I suggested that my GF go over to Carrie's instead of Carrie coming to our place but they shot that down saying since we live in a duplex house with a bit of a backyard it was more convenient for Carrie to come to her and that way her dog can be taken outside for its needed exercise/play and Carrie has someone with her when she takes the dog out to relieve itself. Carrie has had an excuse to say no to everything. Monday I went into work late waiting on Carrie. When she got there I told them I'm done with the effect her dog's presence was having on my cats and they either needed to sit outside on our screened-in porch to do their work or she stops coming over every single day. Carrie said they needed to work together because they both got lonely during the day WFH and my GF was helping her out. Carrie got mad that I was putting cats above a human and her dog is non-negotiable and Carrie suggested I rehome the cats. I told her I couldn't care less about her health problems when it makes her presence a problem for my cats and they weren't going anywhere but she could. Carrie did leave after that and she hasn't been back since. I wouldn't say my GF has been cold or distant toward me, she says she sees both of our points but I was ultimately an asshole for telling Carrie she either had to sit outside with the dog or just not come over because it's a delicate situation. AITA here? Story 4. AITA for saying my sister will be dumb. I 18F live with my mom, 40F, and my sister, 6F. Throughout my life I've struggled with mental health and anxiety around school, not to mention that I'm physically disabled so I have appointments every few weeks. Since my sister officially started school, she always was throwing tantrums. Well, my mom decided I'm not letting her have the same experience you did with school. So on one Wednesday night where she hadn't been at school all week, my sister was throwing a tantrum about not wanting to go to school tomorrow when my mom suggested it. My mom simply went, "Okay, I won't take you to school then." That's when I turned around and said to my mom she hasn't been to school for a full week since she started, she's going to lose learning time because of it. We can't get her assessed for dyslexia or anything like that because of her age. So the best anyone can do is make sure she's getting learning time in. My mom didn't like that and started using me as an example once again. You turned out fine, she will too. Spoiler alert, I did not turn out fine, I have PTSD just because of my mom's lack of parenting and exposing me to things when I was young. And that's just the start of it. I've taken it as my responsibility to protect my sister from online things and what she sees. Her iPad is connected to my phone and I always check what she's playing, watching, and talking about. Once my mom literally said, "Oh, it's impossible to know what your kids are doing on their phones," which said a lot to me. It's not hard to check their devices, it's not hard to install an app to track images. In previous situations where I've caught my sister on Roblox role-playing with 9-year-olds and 11-year-olds, which I took upon myself to research their ages and friends, and I therefore told her to block the people, and told her why it's wrong for them to be talking to each other, and it's not her fault but those aren't the type of people she should be playing with. Mom said I need to unblock those people on the iPad and that it's okay for them to play together on Roblox if my mom is there watching. If you know Roblox, you know that anyone you have added can join and message at any time. I explained this to my mom that we can't guarantee someone will be watching over her when she plays with those people. She brushed it off and protected my crying sister instead of listening to my explanation, telling me that my sister is smart and she can recognize dangers. So I told my mom I will go on my PC to unblock them. Never did though. So that takes me back to that Wednesday evening. All my mom did was tell me how I'm smart and I was fine, don't get involved, I'm not her mom. I just had to finish the argument for the sake of my sister's future and mental health. I said if you keep her attendance as low as this, she will become dumb. Story 5. AITA for not wanting to buy a gift for my cousin's girlfriend. My cousin Adam has a girlfriend he's been together with for 2 years. Last year she moved into my aunt's house to live with him and to study becoming a hairdresser. My whole family have been supportive of their relationship, but recently there's been a disagreement. While discussing gift giving for Christmas with my family, my aunt mentioned we should buy a gift for Adam's girlfriend. Both me and my mom disagreed with this, because why should we be a part of giving a gift to her? She's also not Christian and doesn't celebrate Christmas, so why should we buy a gift for her? My aunt claimed it was different because Adam's girlfriend lives with them, but to me and my mom that doesn't matter. If my aunt wanted to give her a gift, she should do it herself. Not to mention that my aunt only asked my family and not my uncle's family. My mom and I mentioned how my uncle's daughter has a boyfriend, and whether we should also be part of giving a gift to him. But my aunt said that he doesn't live with them, which is the difference, in her opinion. So Reddit, am I the asshole for not wanting to buy a gift for Adam's girlfriend? That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.